Hey, I am Tracy from Launch Tech Made Easy, and today I want to tell you a little story. A few years ago, I was just starting out in my online business, and I was experimenting with email services. I was trying to figure out which one was actually going to be the best one for my business. So you've probably been there, right? So this particular day, I was working in Aweber, and I was playing around with Aweber a little bit and trying to see how I would schedule an email. And I probably was working with I'm pretty sure it was a newsletter template. And I was figuring out like, okay, which button do I push next? And how do I do this email thing? When I realized I'd actually sent out an email to my entire list, a test email. And since I was just starting out in my business, I thought this was a really, really big deal because I had like 30 whole people on my list. 30, like 30. And the email was full of all of that test email junk, right? Like, so it said, test email. It had fake graphics that made no sense. It had all these weird colors in it, a little bit of lorem ipsum text, just, to keep things interesting. You know what I mean, right? So I'm playing around with this email template and I hit send thinking, oh, well, it's just going to give me my scheduling options, because that's what a lot of the email services do. You'd push send or maybe you'd push schedule and it would say, when do you want to go out? Do you want to go out 3 days from now or whatever? And I just wanted to see what the next step was going to be. And boom, it was gone. And so instead of getting the next step, I got this terrifying little pop-up that said, your email has been sent. So at first I was calm and I looked for the undo button because, everything has an undo button today, right? I can even undo my personal Gmail emails that I send. All I have to do is, click that little undo button. And some email services will let you, the bigger ones will let you, say, oh, it'll say, in 60 minutes, your email will send. So I was looking kind of calmly all over Aweber for something like that. Nothing. It had nothing like that. So then I panicked. I really panicked. Like I had 30 people who were going to get this fake email. So I started yelling. I yelled at my computer. That was helpful. Then I yelled at Aweber. And then I started yelling at my husband, who was in the next room with the kids and had no idea what was even going on. But somehow I was pretty sure he must have distracted me. And that was how I had sent the email out by mistake. I was positive my business was totally over. I had sent out an email with filler text in it. What were people going to think? Now, that was a long time ago. I'd say probably about 5 years ago. And I have to say that not one person has ever commented on the fact that they received that email. I didn't get any unsubscribes, which could be because of that list of 30 people, most of them were my family and friends, and truth be told, they probably wouldn't have even known how to unsubscribe from an email back then. Now, Aweber has definitely changed. I don't want to call out Aweber because this was clearly not their issue. But apparently I'm not the only one that made that mistake, because if you go on Aweber today, it's very obvious if you're actually sending or scheduling an email when you click the button. But here's the real moral to the story. Too often, we get caught up in the little tiny things. We think everything about our business has to be perfect, or we're going to be exposed as being unprofessional or inexperienced or a fraud or something like that. Now, since that email several years ago, I can't even tell you how many times I've received an email that's been very similar. Something that was either a test email or it had weird text in it, or maybe it was a broken link or a 404 error. And you know what? It has never once made me want to unsubscribe from that person's list. Instead, I usually kind of chuckle and I think about, ooh, they're not having a great tech day. And, this happens to everybody. And then I just carry on with my day. In fact, over the past few weeks, I've been on the list of one of the big names in online marketing and watching his launch, and it has been fraught. I just used the word fraught. It has been fraught with errors. Opt-in forms have been broken. I got an an email from an affiliate, and when I clicked through, the cart wasn't even open yet. Not only was the cart not open, the final video in the video series hadn't even been released yet. Pages went out the wrong times. It was just like Tech Gremlin seemed to be dogging this guy through the entire launch from start to finish. But you know what? Instead of lamenting or groaning or complaining or even pulling the plug on the launch, because I've heard about people doing things like that, this guy just laughed it off and kind of scrambled and came up with new ways to get around the problems he was having. He was transparent. He explained what was happening, and he just kind of kept moving forward. From the front end, at least, it didn't look like he was scrambling or falling apart. Now, I know probably on the back end, it was a little bit more chaos. But this is a guy with a big team, and he still had problems. But he didn't feel like he had to discount his product. He didn't close up shop and go home. And so often that's exactly what we do, especially when we're just starting out in online business. We feel like if something didn't go exactly the way we wanted it to, that we owe the people that are watching us something. We owe them something free. We owe them an apology. And maybe that's a common characteristic of being an entrepreneur, that we feel like perfection has to be the goal. But rarely does that work out in our favor. And honestly, when things do go perfectly, it's way less interesting, right? In fact, the more that went wrong with this guy's launch, the more eager I was to buy his course. And it wasn't because I felt sorry for him or I thought his sales were going to be down or anything like that. It was because I thought, you know what? I want to work with this guy. He's real. I can relate to him. Not everything goes right in his life. I wanted to be a part of what he was going through because he would know what I was going through as I struggled with my business. Sometimes we freak out when something goes just a little bit wrong. And sometimes we have a reason because something's gone really, really wrong. But at the end of the day, what we have to remember as online entrepreneurs is it's our outward appearance, the way we appear to people on the outside and how we handle those situations that makes us professional or unprofessional. Nobody is judging you or judging your knowledge or judging your expertise based on the mistakes that you occasionally make. Now, if everything you do is a complete mess, that's a different story. But in general, perfection is the enemy of progress. If you're trying to be perfect, you are never, ever going to get where you want to go. If you're stuck choosing the best email service or the perfect shade of blue for your logo or the best template for your newsletter and it's taking you days and days and days, your business is not innovating. It's not growing. It's not moving forward. So today, my challenge to you is to choose. Stop wondering and waiting and worrying and take one action today to move your business forward, even if it's not perfect. Choose your email service provider, choose your logo or what your course is going to be or what your survey questions will ask. Stop worrying, stop second guessing yourselves and do just one thing today that's going to move your business forward. And then do the same thing tomorrow. That's all. That's what I've got for you this week. If you have any questions, feel free to post them right below this video, and I'll be sure to answer them. And as always, you can reach me at Tracy@LaunchTechMadeEasy.com. Bye-bye.